OMS Stories with Angie Senger and Bob Hippe.
Angie Senger here with OMS Stories, and today I am going to spend some time chatting with my good buddy Uncle Bob
Hippe.
Uncle Bob Hippe. I call him Uncle Bob.
And why do you call me Uncle Bob?
I call you Uncle Bob because I've been playing music with you for a long, long time, many
Okay.
years. I bet you 14 years.
Yeah.
Every Monday night and every Tuesday when we're in Arizona. And I sit next to you every single time. We're sitting next to each other. And I'm sure you know more stories about me than my family does. I bet you know more stories about me than Al does because we sit and we yammer at each other all the time.
Well, I know one thing about, I'm not going to tell anybody on this tape, but we were talking one time and I said what year I graduated from high school. And I said that was a good year, and you made the comment about that's the year I was born.
That's the year I was born.
So I said,
Yeah,
you just told me how old you were.
I know. And I said, you're no longer my brother now because you're too old.
Yeah.
Now you have to be my uncle.
Yeah.
So from then on, you're Uncle Bob.
That was over to Sunnycrest.
Yeah, that was at Sunnycrest. Yeah, so now it's Uncle Bob wherever he goes. And now it's Auntie Gus. And then
Yeah.
when my mother's there, it's like, well, now wait a minute. Are you her brother? Are you my mama's brother?
You know, and there was a lot of people back there that wasn't sure that we weren't related.
I know, people do think that.
And I think some of them still think that. Yeah.
That's okay. That's a good story. But anyway, you live in Arizona full time, but you're from here.
Actually from Minnesota, yep. I graduated from high school just down the river here, Lake City. I was born back in it was out in the country, but back in Millville, if anybody knows where that's at.
Millville, Minnesota?
Millville, Minnesota. It's between Rochester and Lake City on Highway 60. It's east of Zumber Falls. There's a Catholic church out there,
And two taverns.
and it's called West Albany. And that's all that's there. But that's where I started and spent most of my, well, I guess when I was trying to think how old I was when I left there. I guess I was about 18 when I moved out of West Albany and went to Rochester for good. But grade school was all down there. Went to West Albany School. It's all gone now.
And how did you work your way to be spending all your time in Arizona?
I was working for IBM back in Rochester. They sent me to Colorado, and then when I retired, a friend of mine wanted to know if I wanted to go to Arizona. And so we took off for a month. I followed his tail lights. I had a motorhome, and we just went from one place to another and got to playing the guitar down there and jamming. So then the next year, he didn't go, but we went back. And that kind of evolved into the staying there.
But you were already doing music, right?
Well, yeah, I had people ask me how long I've been playing, and I said, well, I got a guitar when my uncle went in the Second World War. And I was about that high. I think I was about 5 or 6 years old. Gus has got a picture of it. And
Of your first guitar?
my first guitar and me, yeah. And I was, I don't know, I was 5, 6 years old maybe, when he went into the war and gave me the guitar, but there wasn't anybody down there who could play it. So I had that guitar, and I wish I had it today, but dumb me, I traded it off, I think, for a solid body. He's going to be a rock star one time, I thought. But anyway,
Weren't we all?
yeah, I had that guitar, and I could play about 3 or 4 chords. I don't think they were in the same key. But anyway, I had it, and I would play it for my own entertainment. And when we went to Arizona, I'll always remember this. Went to, I can't remember what the name of the park was anymore. But neighbor across the street had an accordion, and he was sitting over there playing the accordion. And he hollered and asked me, he said, "You going to the jam session?" And I said, "What's a jam session?" So that started when he said, are you going to a jam session? I asked him what it was. He said, "Well, come along, I'll show you." So we went in, and it was very interesting. one of the guys that walked in there is carrying a guitar in a case, and it's got Hipp. I thought, where's the E? But it was a guy by the name of George Hippe. But I laugh about that because I always say, there was about 10 of us in there, and 9 of them didn't know how to play because they couldn't play with me. But it wasn't those 9; it was me. It was me. I was
funny.
I was so far out of time.
You were greenhorn back then, huh?
Well, you talk about green. So then I just started going to jam sessions down there, and what I'd do, I'd find somebody that played better than I did, which wasn't very hard to do at the time, and I'd sit next to them and I'd say, well, how do you do that? What are you doing there? And that's really how I learned how to play the guitar.
But you know, you go to jam sessions now and you see people doing that exact same thing.
Yep.
That exact same thing.
And I tell people now, the guy says, well, I can't play with you guys. I said, yeah, you can. Just come in, find somebody, sit and watch them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then I still played a lot of M chords. Mute. When I don't know where I am, I'm muted. Guy caught.
Now I notice you tinkle a lot. You
Yeah.
tinkle a lot, so
Yeah.
you don't even have to chord.
Mm.
You tinkle while they're during the song.
I do a lot of that. And I had a guy one time that I didn't know what we were doing, so I'm all over the neck, pretending like I knew what I was doing. He come up to me afterwards, he said, I need to get with you, because he said, I'm trying to find somebody that can really play the guitar. And he said, sing, or he said, I want to sing it. But he said, I need somebody that's really good. And I thought, boy, you got the wrong guy, because he was looking at me when I was muting it all over, and I didn't know what I was doing. But we never did get together.
Well, now, how long after that did you start having a group and you went out? Because you did that for a long time. And you were really busy at it, weren't you?
Yeah. I started in we moved down to Arizona in 1995, and I think it was a year later. A guy by the name of Ev Whitmore, I don't know, most of you people probably don't know Ev, but he was an excellent guitar player. Good country and a good country fiddle. And then him and I were at a show one night, and it was so bad, it was embarrassing, and we didn't even know who the people were. They were that bad. And Ev said, we could do better than that. So we just talking to each other, and, well, why don't we get a band? I said, well, I know where I can get a job. So we got a band together. We got a job and didn't even have a band. But then we found another guy by the name of Bill Lynn. Bill probably was, and he's passed away now, but Bill was probably one of the best guitar players in the valley.
I heard you mention his name. Yeah.
And Bill and Ev and I and I can't remember what the bass players were, but bass player was a member of the Michigan Country Music Hall of Fame. And we played for 4 years, I think, down there. And then Ev got cancer, and then he quit. And then the band kind of disbanded. But then Don Plato, who played steel guitar,
Pedal steel. Yeah.
and Buddy Meredith and Bob Merchant were trying to get a band, but at that time there were so many people trying to get bands down there that it was hard to get a job. But we had played long enough that they knew who we were. And my theory always was that when I play for you, I'll meet you on the street tomorrow. I don't want to have to cross the street because we did such a bad job. I'll meet you on the street. And that's the way our theory was playing. So then they asked me if I would come with them guys. But they wanted to use the name the Arizona Rhythm Rangers. And that was our name at the time. And they said, well, you know how to get the jobs. And by that time we had a pretty good reputation, and I was getting the calls instead of me going out and having to do it. And we played together then for 4 more years. So I played with the Arizona Rhythm Rangers down there for 8 years. And the last year we played, we were running between, the last couple of years we were running between 50 and 60 jobs a year.
Wow.
And that was just the 1-hour shows or the 2-hour dances. Or 3-hour dances. We did play 1 2-hour. But we had a lot of fun, and we didn't have any superstars. Everybody knew what their job was, and so it was a lot of fun.
That's really nice.
But then Don got cancer, and he gave up. Well, actually, Don got sick He had cancer but didn't know it at the time. So then that just kind of shot the Arizona River Rangers down. And
Well, now when I met Don Plato and met you, you
Mhm.
you didn't have your band anymore, did you?
no, that one, let's see, 2001 I think was the last year we played.
Okay, that's I think the first year that I played with Don Plato and you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don used to play, well, he said he played 13 instruments, and I believe he did. But we were playing one night.
He's a funny man.
Oh, he was. You know, he had, somebody said one time, well, where's your wife? He said, she burned the toast this morning. I'm not letting her out of the house. I mean, he said it in such a way that most of us believed him to start with. He had that dry sense of humor.
Yeah,
but,
he did. Oh, he was funny.
But Don was an excellent musician. But he played 13 instruments, and we walked in one time to us. Did I think it might have been a rain dance, but they had this chair stacked right next to the door, and they were sticking out about just a couple inches. And Don bumped them, and they went. Brrr. I said, you played 14 inches? No, he said 13. And I said, no, you just played musical chairs now. So we had a lot of fun. But
What always impressed me about you right off the bat was how much you know about traditional country music. You know so much, you know all those old names. Every single time you would get up to play was a song that I never heard of before. By somebody I never heard of before. And I always accused you of making it up. I'd say, who did that song, Bob? And you'd say, Ted Smith or something. And I'd say, oh, come on. Because I swore you were making it up, but you know so much about all of that.
Where I picked up a lot of that was our oldest daughter went down to Tennessee. She went down with a friend of hers that they worked together back in Colorado. And when she got down there, the guy the gal she went with, they stayed with her cousin, who happened to be the sound manager at the Grand Ole Opry. And Robin got a job down there and worked at a hospital down there. And he said, if your folks ever come down, you want to go to Grand Ole Opry, just let me know. So we started going in the back door of the Grand Ole Opry, sitting on the stage behind the audience there where you could see the church pews. And I had the opportunity to meet a lot of those people backstage because they had a little hospitality room and the stars were back there. And went one time off stage, in the first door was a guy by the name of Roy Acuff. And we just stopped and looked in his door and he just waved, come on in, boys. And we went in and met him, and it just kind of evolved and met so many of those guys down there. Bill Monroe, and I just can't even think of all the names that I met. But one of the things that I always think about, Bill Anderson was doing a show one night and he forgot the words to the song.
That's never happened to you
Never.
or to me.
Never.
We've never done that.
But they got all done, and Bill said, you know what's embarrassing about that? I wrote that song. Wrote the song and I forgot the words to it. But I've always been, I guess, involved in country music, but growing up in southern Minnesota, I didn't have an accordion. So, you had an accordion then. But I had the guitar, and wish I had that one today. But
Don't we though? Yeah.
But
We knew then what we know now.
Yeah.
You'd have your old car too, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I always think about that guitar, and I wonder where that went, but I still kind of like the ones I got, though. And I got a couple, probably more than I should have, but I guess somebody said something about guitars one time, if I was a collector, and I said, well, I must be, because I never sell one. I should buy them.
You do. And now we have the saga of your Martin guitar. And that is quite a saga.
Yeah, that...
You boys and your Martin guitars.
Yeah, I think I bought the first Martin guitar in our area down there. Actually, I didn't buy it. Gus gave me the certificate for my 65th birthday. It says good for one Martin guitar. And I thought, well, I've always wanted to Martin, but I couldn't justify, that kind of money for my own entertainment. But I thought, well, I'm retired, and if I don't spend the money, the kids will get it, and they're not going to spend it the way I want to spend anyway. So Ed Whitmore and I went looking for, no, it was Floyd Tidd. Floyd Tidd and I went looking for a guitar one day, and I happened to look at a D42. I wasn't looking for a D18, but I looked at that D42, and I handed it to Floyd. I said, try this one. And he'd been playing a D18, and the 42 sounded so much different. And I don't know if it was just because that's what I wanted it to sound like, or if it really did. But that's what I bought, and then I've had that for several years, and then all of a sudden the thrust rod froze up on it. I couldn't adjust it. So Martin decided they wanted it back, so that was last September.
Has it only been since last September? It seems like 2 years.
No, it was last
Is
September.
it just since last September?
So they got it down there.
Are you ever going to get it back?
Well, I got it back, but then it was all, the top of it was all, they call it chickadrax. It was from heat. Somehow, and it was during the storms that they had in Pennsylvania, I think.
Are they going to give you a new one?
Well, I don't even know where that guitar is right now. When I got it back, they said, well, we're going to have to, we'll refinish that for you. So I said, am I going to have to send that back there and then you'll have it for another 3-4 months again? And they said, well, if you can find a certified Martin repair person in the Phoenix area, maybe they could fix it for you. So I did. I found a guy, and they said they had authorized the chargers and everything. But then when he got it, he said, there's a couple other things I don't like about this guitar. And he said, the way it was set up, and he said, that needs to really be adjusted. So between him and Martin, we're talking about the prices, and I don't know if they were going to make him send it back, or if...
Are they charging you for all of this?
Not right now.
Oh man, is this going to cost you more than the guitar?
By then I'm going to make some more phone calls. We're going to talk to somebody about that.
Oh, what a story.
Yeah, but so right now, we've been on the road for, I guess, 4 weeks now. So when I get back, I'll call. I finally give up calling him on the phone because he was talking to them, and they were saying, well, what are we going to do? And so I don't know who's got doing what.
Oh boy.
But I'll get my Martin, or they'll give me one or the two.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'll play with what I
Because
got.
we have a lot of music to do this winter yet.
Mhm.
This coming winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of jam sessions left down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep, and we'll get back to it, and I get down there in middle of October, so I'll see you over at
Sunland Village
I'll
East,
see you over there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunnycrest, and on it goes.
Yeah, Sunnycrest starts in November, I think.
I think first week in November.
Yeah.
And here we are in Maple Grove, Minnesota, at a 3-day Arizona Jammers reunion.
Raining hard.
It rained this morning so hard, and Al said, well, you guys won't be doing any music today. And I said, that's why we're here. And sure enough, 10 o'clock in the morning, you look around, we're starting, and there's 20 musicians in there ready to go.
Yeah. And it's raining so hard
And
you
it's
can't
raining
even...
so hard we couldn't hear each other.
But it quit just in time for us to eat.
Quit in time for lunch, and now it's pretty nice out. And I
Yeah.
can hear they're already back at it out
Yeah.
there. So
And I can't believe they could start without us either.
I can't believe they started without us. It'll sound so much better
Yeah, when we get there, yeah.
So I guess we better get at it.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
this is Angie Senger with Old Men Stories, and this is
Bob Hippe.
with Old Men Stories. And we'll see you on the radio.
One more day with a couple of troubadours.